Are you still spending hours and hours creating your N8N workflows with drag and drop? Or are you still using those old methods where you would just give a prompt to ChatGPT and it will give you an incomplete JSON file, and then you will import it to your N8N and you're basically stuck and it's not working? In today's video, I'm going to tell you a secret through which you can create a complete, fully functional N8N workflow with just one prompt. And it is a secret method which you might not find on any other video. You might find some tutorials where they're going to be telling you to connect Claude, but the Claude needs a paid plan. And in this video, I'll be using a free method using Gemini CLI. So let me show you the workflow which I created. So that's the prompt which I gave, and that's the only prompt which I gave to Gemini CLI, which is basically a complete e-commerce order fulfillment preparation. An order comes in and this workflow prepares all the necessary documents and notifications for the fulfillment team. And that's just a start. You can create more complex or even more simpler workflows if you want to generate. Now let me show you the results which I got. So that's the workflow which I got. And all I need is just connect my WooCommerce and connect my Google Drive, Trello, and then it is going to basically run the workflow, right? So a complete workflow with just a one single prompt. And let me show you my Gemini CLI so you can see that as well. So that is the log of my Gemini CLI. And that is the prompt. So that's the prompt which I gave. Generate N8N workflow that triggers on a new WooCommerce order. First, use the WooCommerce node, get a customer action to fetch the full customer details using the customer ID from the ticker. Next, use the PDF node to generate a packaging slip and then upload the generated PDF to the Google Drive and then create a new Trello card. I mean, it's a pretty detailed workflow which I got with just one single prompt. I'm also gonna show you guys to generate some simple workflows to show you guys that it works completely fine. And here, once it generated the workflow, I gave it a command, please add it to my N8N instance. And it directly add that to my N8N instance. I didn't have to manually import the JSON file. It automatically added that to my workflow as well. So if you want to learn how to do that, make sure to watch the complete video and do not forget subscribe the channel because that will help you a lot with the automation, and I'm going to be creating a lot of tutorials like this. So make sure to subscribe the channel, right? So let me tell you how I did that and how you can do that completely for free, right? So first you should have an N8N instance. And if you don't have that, N8N is open source. You can run it localhost completely for free. Or if you want to deploy it in Google Cloud, I already have the video where you can basically deploy it on Google Cloud and use it almost for free, right? So make sure to check other videos. I'll add those videos in the description. But in this video, the first step is to install the Gemini CLI in VS Code. And in order to do so, first, let me quit my Gemini CLI and show you guys how you can do that on your VS Code. I've already created a video for that as well, but let me show you how you can do that. So basically, all you have to do is just open the VS Code and then open the terminal. So just open the VS Code and go to terminal, click on new terminal, and here you will have the terminal, right? Now in the terminal, you will need to add a command, which you will find here in the Gemini CLI GitHub repo. You can also Google that. So if you Google Gemini CLI GitHub, you will find the repository on the top. So that's the repository where you will find the command for npm. So if you scroll down, you have this command. All you have to do is just add this command and then paste it to your terminal and make sure you're on the right folder, whatever folder you want to execute that command to, right? So when you add that command, and once this command has completed, all you have to do is just add this Gemini command and your Gemini CLI will be up and running. So I already have that installed. And once you install that for the first time, it is going to ask you for the Google authorization. So you will just need to sign in using your Google and it will run in your VS Code terminal. So I'm going to type it Gemini, which will run my Gemini CLI. Okay, you can see that my Gemini CLI is running. In my case, it's not asking me for the Google authorization because I have already authorized it. But once you do that, you will see the prompt where it will ask you to log in with Google or using your API key. Login with Google is the most easiest method which you can do. So you should do that. And you can see that I'm already using an MCP server. So that's the MCP server which I'm using. That is an N8N MCP server with 39 tools which will validate the workflow, which will create the workflow directly on your N8N instance. Now, this is the second step which we will be doing. Now, the first step is completed, which is install the Gemini CLI. Now, we will add this N8N MCP server. Here is the GitHub repository. I'm going to open that in new tab. And we will be adding this GitHub repo, this MCP server in our Gemini CLI. Now let me show you how we will do that. So first I'm gonna quit my Gemini and then I'm gonna add the command, which is code.gemini settings.json. So that is our file where we will add our MCP server. So let's hit enter and it will open up your file in the VS Code. So you can see that I have already added that MCP server. So that's the MCP server which we will be using, N8N MCP. So all you have to do is just go to this GitHub repository and find the full configuration here. So here's the full configuration and copy this part. Or if you do not have any MCP server defined, you will copy this part here, right? Or you can simply ask the ChatGPT or Google Gemini to create your settings.json file. So if I go to, let's go to ChatGPT. And if I ask ChatGPT, I want to add following MCP server in my settings.json for Gemini CLI. Please prepare the file for me. And now I'm going to define MCP server. And after that, I am going to define my settings.json file. Settings.json file. Now you can add whatever you're seeing on your settings.json file. Let's suppose you're seeing this here. Ideally, you should be seeing this. If you are using Gemini CLI for the first time, you should see it like this, which means you do not have any MCP server, right? And if I save that, and now if I give it this my settings.json file, it is going to give me the settings.json file. So you can see that it automatically added this MCP server object, right? And now all I have to do is just copy this and paste it to my settings.json file. And here we have our file, but this is for the Docker, but we don't want to use the Docker, and we will be using so that was for the Docker. We were not supposed to use the Docker. We are supposed to use the npm. So let's find the npm command, which we have here. So that is for the npx with the full configuration. We will be needing full configuration, where we have this N8N API and then N8N API key, which means that it is directly connected with our N8N and it is going to directly create the workflow in our N8N instance. I'm going to copy this and give it to ChatGPT. Sorry, MCP server is as follows. So I'm going to give it the updated code for my MCP server, and we have our updated settings.json file, right? And here it's saying that we need our N8N instance and our API key. So let me do that. I am going to create my API key. So let's go to N8N, click on settings here, and let's leave without saving for now from this workflow. So here we have N8N API option under settings. and we are going to create a new API key. So click on create an API key. I'm going to name it test2. And here we have our N8N API key. Now let's copy your N8N API key, and first let's copy this settings.json, which is for Gemini CLI. Now here we will add our N8N API key. Let's copy our N8N API key. That's our N8N API key. Paste your N8N API key. Once you paste that, you need to add your N8N instance URL, right? In my case, that is my N8N instance URL. I'm going to copy this N8N instance URL. So that is the N8N instance URL, which I'm copying, right? So let's copy that and paste it here. So this two parts of the settings.json is really important. Make sure you add your N8N API key here and your N8N API URL, right? Once you add that in the settings.json file for Gemini CLI, press Command S or press save the file and save. So our file is now saved. Now I am going to run my Gemini by adding the command Gemini in my terminal. And you can see that I have this one MCP server. So if I remove this MCP server and quit and restart my Gemini, it is going to say that you don't have any MCP server. So let me show you how it's gonna work. So if I just remove this here and save my settings.json file, press /quit to quit the Gemini, and then run my Gemini again. You can see that it's not showing about the MCP server, meaning we do not have any MCP server configured. So you can see that no MCP servers are configured, right? So let's add the code back for our MCP server and then quit the Gemini CLI and run the Gemini CLI again. Perfect. You can see that we have our MCP server running with Gemini CLI, right? Now, all I have to do is just add in the prompt and it is going to create the workflow. So that is the prompt which I used before to create this workflow. I'm going to remove this workflow from here, and I'm going to remove this workflow as well because that's also I generated from the same prompt. That is another workflow which I created using Gemini CLI, which is basically an email classifier. So it is going to automatically respond using OpenAI agent and also update that in Google Sheet, also send me a Slack message if it's a support email or if it's a sales email. Here we have a prompt. So it is basically classify the email, either it's a sales inquiry or a support question. Then it is going to draft a suitable response and it is going to notify me via Slack. If I approve it, it is going to respond back automatically once I approve it, right? So that's what I generated using the same method, just like I'm showing you guys. But in this example, we will be following this prompt where it is going to generate a workflow to automate our order fulfillment process. So let's copy this prompt and then give our prompt to the Gemini CLI. Make sure we have this old workflows deleted, and I'm going to give it the prompt to see what happens. Let's see. So you can see that it's now executing the tool, which is for searching nodes from our MCP server. It's basically finding the relevant nodes which it needs to create the workflow. I'm going to allow it to use that tool. Now it's asking again. I'm going to allow it. And it's better to use yes, allow tool search nodes from N8N MCP all the time. So I am going to do that for the remaining prompts. So as you can see that it's saying that it looks like there is already a file name WooCommerce.json in workflow directory, meaning I already tried that prompt and it does have the file. So if I open up my folder where I have installed it, there is a workflow folder which it created. Now it is being created with Gemini CLI, and you can see that all of these workflows are already showing up because I already used that prompt. Now it's asking me, it looks like there's already a file name. To avoid overwriting, I'll create a new file. Do you want me to confirm? Do you want me to give a go ahead? I said, yes, please create a new file. Now it is going to create this new file on my folder here in workflows. Okay. Yes, always allow. It's asking me to allow it to change for the permission. Okay, you can see that we already have our workflow ready, and that is our workflow file, WooCommerce order fulfillment. And if I open that, you can see that we have this file created, right? But I wanted to upload it to my N8N automatically. I don't want to manually import that file. So I would just say, please upload it to my N8N instance. Now let's see what it does. Now it's reading the file which it created. Okay, it's now executing the MCP tool to create the workflow, and I'm going to allow it. You can see that it already created that, and now it's doing some conclusion. Okay, you can see that the workflow has been successfully uploaded to your instance, N8N instance. And if I go to my N8N instance, and I just need to refresh. And here you can see that our WooCommerce order fulfillment workflow is ready. Here we go. We just need to connect our WooCommerce trigger, and then Trello, and then Google Drive, and then Telegram to make this workflow work. So that's how easy it is to generate N8N Workflow with just one single prompt. All you have to do is just initially set it up using this Gemini CLI, install it on your VS Code or whatever code editor you are using, and then add this N8N MCP server in order to create workflows directly into your N8N with just one single prompt. And I think that's it for the video. If you like the video, let me know in the comments below. If you're having any issues implementing this tutorial, let me know in the comments below. I would love to answer all of your questions and create a follow-up video. If I get more than 300 likes, I am going to address all of the comments in this video and personally create an updated video. So make sure to comment. Until next video, have a great day.